Hello, everyone, and welcome to Navigating the Future of Trucking with me, your host, Jerri Banks. I'm excited for today. We have a lot of information to cover, but I want to just thank you for being here. Welcome you again to the Future of Trucking. If you're new here, welcome. Do me a favor and just take a few seconds to subscribe to the channel, download the podcast across all the podcast platforms. We are there. Also, make sure you subscribe, make sure you turn on notifications so that you never miss a show. I'm here live every single Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Central Standard Time at 10 a.m. So make sure you connect with me. On this show, I talk about automation, autonomy, and new technology entering into the trucking industry, a particular focus on autonomous trucks and the changes that they're bringing to our industry, the changes that they're bringing to the role of the truck driver. So we're seeing a shift in roles. We're seeing a shift in new duties and new things that truck drivers need to perform. It's going to be more and more. We're going to see this shift. So I want to encourage you to make sure that you are always tapped in with me so that you never miss a live, you never miss an update. I also talk about traditional truck driving jobs because you're going to see the traditional truck driving jobs, and then you're going to see the jobs of the future, the jobs in the autonomous sector, jobs in the automation sector. New technologies, new information, new software, new things are coming out, and you need to be ready. And so we share and talk about these jobs. Traditional truck driving jobs, we're able to connect you with them. The additional jobs, those automation jobs, those autonomy jobs, that's for informational purposes. And I want you to be able to go and take that information and take your current skills and combine them with new skills so that you can be a game changer for somebody's company. And then lastly, on the learning lane, it's probably my favorite part of the show, but on the learning lane, I share actionable tips, like tips that you can take and start using right now. And today we're going to talk about a tip that I probably could use a little bit of help on myself. So I want to make sure that you stick around and learn how I could use it, but then also learn how you can use it. But these tips that I share, they're tips so that you can start working to upskill and reskill yourself for this new future that we're moving into. And today, again, I want to welcome you to the show. We'll take a break and we will get right started. The show today, we're going to be talking about a new bill in Alabama about self-driving cars that's just went across the governor's desk. We're going to talk about an autonomous shuttle that is starting at one of the airports. It's a shuttle service. I want to talk about it. It's a first of its kind autonomous shuttle deployment. I'm going to be talking about that. I have a traditional truck driving job. It's with a grocery store. You're in Virginia. You're going to want to know about that. And then in our learning lane, again, I have a tip and a tool that I want you to put in your toolbox because it's going to be helpful for both you and me. So stick around.
I'm Jerri Banks. Our agency focuses on driver recruitment and driver education. We focus on helping drivers and preparing them for the future of trucking and transportation as autonomous vehicles and automation enters the industry. Our goal is to ensure that you are equipped with the skills that you need to be successful in this new way of life. So make sure you connect with me across all of my platforms, Jerri Banks, Autonomous Trucking. I look forward to connecting with you.
Yes, I look forward to connecting with you. And I just want to thank all of you that have reached out, all of your comments, all of your hearts, your likes. I absolutely love it. I absolutely am grateful to you for engaging with my content, for liking, sharing it, and make sure you share. Because if your friends don't know about what's going on, you don't want your friends to be left behind because that is the goal. We leave no one behind in this industry. And today we're going to be talking about, I want to share with you a bill in Alabama. This is courtesy of the Alabama Political Reporter, a news article. And they, thank you, Chance Phillips, for this article. But Alabama just legalized self-driving cars. Legalizing self-driving cars, it's awaiting the governor's signature. So it's already been unanimously passed through the House. On May 9th, that happened. The House unanimously decided to send the bill over to Governor Ivey's desk. And so it would be to legalize self driving cars. Now, if you remember back when, and let me see if I can find it, all the states that have currently legalized self-driving cars and legalized, there it is. Look, my producer's amazing, y'all. So this, thank you, Sarah. So this the states. This is a map of the states that have been legalized. If you take a look at Alabama, Alabama is in, it's shaded light green, which means that it's only for commercial autonomous vehicles right now. So at the moment, Alabama's only for commercial autonomous vehicles. But if you look across the states, half of the union has already voted to either, or they already have the autonomous vehicles either deployed or they're in testing. So it's not a matter of, and this is what I tell so many drivers, that it's not a matter of if or when, it's a matter of it's right now. So, I wanted to make sure that I shared this map for you so that you can see that it's here. It's not a matter of if it's coming or when it's coming, that it's here. Half of the states in the union have already, made the decision to either test or deploy. And that's why it's so important and imperative for you to continue to not learn about it and to be knowledgeable about it. And so this bill legalizing, set to legalize autonomous vehicle for self-driving purposes. So like me and you getting in our car and our car is driving ourselves while we're sitting there, in a meeting or sitting there on our phones or whatever the case may be. But the state legislator in Alabama, they legalized autonomous vehicles for commercials for trucks back in 2019. This was Senate Bill 226. If this bill is signed, it's going to legalize autonomous vehicles for personal use. So they already got the commercial use. They're working on the personal use. So this is Alabama. The state of Alabama has already, if you live in Alabama and didn't know this, welcome aboard. Okay. So the state of Alabama has already, back in 2019, they legalized autonomous vehicles for commercial truck driving. Okay, and commercial use. Now there's a bill that's in place to legalize it for personal use. So you being able to get in your self-driving car, or more so, not you, yeah, but more so what I'm thinking it looks like is the robo taxis. So we have these robo taxis, and I actually got the opportunity to ride in one in where was I? In Phoenix, Arizona. I rode in a robo taxi, and this was a Waymo robo taxi. I rode around downtown. We got picked up on one side, and we were going to maybe about 5-10 minutes away to a restaurant. And it was an experience. If you haven't seen that video on my TikTok, make sure you go check it out. But I did get to ride in a self-driving taxi, and these robo taxis for Waymo, they're in a lot of cities already. So if you live in Austin, if you live in San Francisco, if you live in Phoenix, Los Angeles, they're working on Atlanta. These are places that the self-driving car, the self-driving taxi is just like an Uber, except you don't have an Uber driver. And so this is the future. This is where we're moving towards. Now, in this article, they talk about the federal government being slow to pass new legislation addressing self-driving cars. And so leading many states and local governments to pass their own legislation. Now, Senator Allen, he said, we want to make sure that the public highways are under a rule of law. He says, when you have a vehicle that is self-driving, we want to make sure that the laws are in place to govern those vehicles as well, as we do. We totally understand. But then he says that, it's got to be stable. It's got to be able to stop. It's got to be able to, enter into a stable condition in order to reduce the risk of a crash, or any type of incident. Now, the other thing in regards to fully autonomous vehicles, they have to be insured for at least $100,000. So that's another thing that Alabama talks about. And so couple other things. So I'll make sure that this link here is in the description box so that you can take a look at it. And another thing to note that I want to mention is the potential economic impact of self-driving cars. So Senator Allen also talked about and hinted on the more than 50,000 citizens of Alabama who work for automobile manufacturers, if you're making cars and working in those manufacturing plants, because Alabama is a big place for automobile manufacturers. I know BMW's there. There's quite a few manufacturers that are there. And so he says that the need to allow automakers to develop and build self-driving cars in the state is going to increase the economic footprint, making more jobs, bringing more money to their state. And of course, you have the Teamsters, who also commented in this article. Teamsters Local 402 called it a threat to the safety and economic security of everyone throughout the state. So again, take a look at this article and see what's going on in your state. See what's going on in your state. If you live in Alabama, if you live in one of the states that's already testing and deploying, there are partnerships. There are partnerships forming. There are groups working together. Yesterday, we talked about Isuzu and Gatik, a $30 million investment in partnership to build more autonomous trucks. Isuzu is going to mass produce autonomous trucks by 2027. And then the other day we talked about another partnership. So the partnership was with Torque and Daimler Truck. And so these partnerships, we're going to see more and more of them as the future progresses. And so again, in order for you to stay relevant, in order for you to stay ahead, you got to do two things. You got to be knowledgeable. That's number one. And number two, you have to work to reskill and upskill yourself. Don't wait for anybody else to do it. Do it yourself. And if that looks like a pivot, if that looks like a change, or, transition into something else in the industry, it's okay. That's okay. And so I just thought that this was a great article to share. And I will definitely be looking for more opportunities and more things to share with you guys so that, you can stay informed. That's important. I want you to stay informed. Now, let's move right along to our next autonomous vehicle news. This is autonomous news. So I bring you autonomous news. I bring you automation news, anything in regards to new technology or something that's going to affect our industry in any way. And so soon to be coming to an airport near you. And if you guys know that I still do, I worked, I'm dating myself, almost 3 decades. This is almost my third decade. I'm almost hitting 30 years of being in the transportation industry. And in the industry, my work stems across aviation and it stems across trucking. And so when you marry those two, you bring out my customer service, my people side, my communication, those soft skills from aviation, that attention to detail, that planning, all of those things, the logistical planning and operations of the aviation side, and you marry that with the trucking side, and you got like this amazing LeBron James baby. Okay, don't forget I said that. Okay. But I think it's great. I love being on both sides. I actually do a lot of traveling. And in my travels, I see so many things in regards to the future, in regards to what's happening. And so I went to Korea. Uh, this was back in March. So I went to Korea back in March, and I got to experience not one, but two opportunities to see a robot in action. I'm going to show you the video, and the video, let me just like put a disclaimer out there. Okay. So the video was me talking about the robot. The voiceover is me. However, this is a very sleepy me. All right. And if you have been traveling for almost 20 hours, you will understand what sleep and jet lag and all of those things do to you and your body and your voice. And so the voiceover is a very sleepy me, but let me pull up the video so that you can take a look. This is the first robot. There were actually two robots. So I'm going to tell you the story about the second one. The first one is in the airport.
I went to Korea, and when I was coming back at the airport, they had this robot, and he was walking around asking people if they needed help. If you had questions about how to get to the gate, if you had questions on, where your airline was. And I just got in front of him and started recording him. It was different. It is the new future, a future where robots are involved. What do you think? What are your thoughts? Drop them in the comments.
A new future, a future where robots are involved. Can you believe that? A future where robots are involved. That robot was just walking around. And look, I know y'all heard my voice. I was so tired. You would think after all the traveling I've done, I know how to manage my jet lag, but that trip was just something else. I have another trip coming up in a couple of weeks, actually on Monday. And so I'll be able to tell you guys about that trip afterwards on the back end. But a robot in the airport walking around asking you how they can help you. Do you know where your gate is? Do you know how to get there? Can we point you in the right direction? What can we do to help you? This is the new future. And so that was different. That was a very different experience. Now, the other video that I want to share with you, and the reason why I'm showing you the airport in my travel videos, because the next article that I'm going to talk about is at the airport as well. So these airports are really bringing in new technology. They're really bringing in new things that are going to change the way people travel. And I have another experience. I'll share that tomorrow. My Delta experience and my parallel universe. It was wild. So I'll talk about that one tomorrow. But so this next video that I'm going to show you, I was actually in the mall in Seoul, Korea. And this is like the last day. This is like the day before we were leaving. My team and I were leaving Seoul, Korea. And we were in the mall. It was raining outside, and we had found them. And this was like a really nice mall. It wasn't like your average, mall in your neighborhood. This was a mall where, I'm in Houston, so we have the Galleria. So think of the Galleria times 10. And everything was all underground. So there were like 3 to 4 levels underground. And again, I'm in South Korea. And I'm tired and I just want to get ready to go to my hotel. But my team, they want to do some shopping. They want to just hang out. And I'm like, okay. So we're walking in the mall. And of course, there's your McDonald's. We were, going to the food court. Of course, there's your McDonald's. There's all these places that you can eat. A lot of course, traditional Korean food. And I'd been there 5 days. So I'd already had my share of traditional Korean food. And so I was I'd had enough. It's amazing. I love it, but I'd had enough. And so I'm a Texas girl. And so as I'm walking through the mall, it's like imagine like this big like light. It illuminates this restaurant. Okay. And I'm a foodie too. Don't judge me. But the these lights illuminate. There weren't really lights, it was just lights in my head. These lights illuminate over this restaurant, and the restaurant is an on the border Mexican restaurant. If you're in Texas, if you know Tex-Mex, you know on the border. Look, I don't care if you're in Texas, if you're in California, if you're in, anywhere in the US, but if you're in and you see on the border, oh, that's okay. That's cool. But if you're in another country and you see an on the border and you're like, oh my God, I just hit the jackpot. So I saw the on the border and I went into the on the border, me and the girls. And at the on the border, we ordered our food. Got our chips and salsa, because the Mexican restaurants always bring out the chips and the salsa and all the things. And then there's this robot walking beside me, and I'm like, what is going on? And let me show you. I'm not gonna say anything else about it. Let me just show you. So that's what I saw. I recorded that right there in the on the border restaurant. I was, super excited to get my chips and salsa and all the things, and it was just as good as it was in the States. But to be able to see the robot delivering food. So what it would do is the kitchen, it would go and park right next to the kitchen. The kitchen would bring out a tray with the food on it, sit it on top of the robot, and then the robot would in turn take it to the table, and there would be a waitress or a hostess or someone there that would, give the food out to everyone at the table. The robot didn't do that, but there someone there. And so it kind of helped. They still needed the same amount of waitresses and hostesses that a normal restaurant has, but the waitresses weren't running back and forth to the kitchen to get the food. And so when you think about it, it was a compliment to what the waitress was doing. It helped her do her job better. And for those of you, I'll share this video again because I just thought this was really, really cool. And I didn't show the whole thing, but out the video, it actually goes to the end where the robot goes and parks right next to the kitchen. So everybody that's cooking in there, they can bring the food out. And so they had several robots, and they were just helping the waitresses. They were just like some additional help. And so again, as we move into this new future, we know roles are going to shift. We know roles are going to change. We're already seeing AI and machine learning and different things. We're already seeing how they complement, how they add value to what you do in your current role. They add value to me, what I do in my current role. And so it's very important that you learn about, see how it can complement you and make your job better, make what you do better, and be able to tap into that, use that, because again, it's elevation season. And any way that I can utilize something to help me elevate, I will. And you should too. So we're going to take a break. And when we come back, I'm going to show you the autonomous shuttle. And I'm going to tell you what airport is using an autonomous shuttle to move its people from terminal to terminal and gate to gate.
When it comes to autonomous trucks entering the trucking and transportation industry, up until now, you've only heard bits and pieces, news here, news there. There's been no centralized place for you to learn about autonomous trucks. Join me every Wednesday and Thursday and Friday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time as I share information, news, and education on how you can stay prepared for autonomous trucks and autonomy entering the trucking and transportation industry.
Yes, make sure you are connected with me. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. The channel is right here below, and make sure you turn on the notifications so that you never miss a live. I'm here every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right, so let me pull up and share with you the autonomous shuttle it's a pilot program, and it's with, let me pull up this shuttle. Look at there. That is different. That is new. This is actually in Honolulu. So tell me if you've been to Honolulu before. I haven't, but my parents had, because when I was growing up, not growing up, but when I was in my early 20s, I worked for United Airlines, and they took advantage of every single free trip opportunity. They were flying all over, and I was just there, working away. They were using my flight benefits, but they've been to Hawaii a lot of times. But these are the new shuttles that are taking passengers and driving them around from gate to gate, or shuttle to shuttle. Now, I want you to think about this. This right now, they have 4 electric autonomous shuttles, and so it's giving the passengers a convenient last mile solution. And so it'll take them from the different airport gates. It'll take them to their specific areas that they need to be in. This is different. This is different. I talked about partnerships. This partnership with Beep and the Hawaii Department of Transportation launching these self-driving shuttles at the Honolulu airport. It's different. These four little shuttles, it's different. It's the new wave that we're moving into. It's a new future that we're going into. And so we're going to see more and more partnerships like this. So Beep is the company who manufactures, or who has created these autonomous shuttles. And again, they're partnering with the Honolulu airport with the Hawaii Department of Transportation. So again, it's just a testing phase. But this partnership they're developing, and they're going to be deploying these, if this works out, more and more. And so this pilot program, it just shows us the potential of autonomous vehicles, self-driving vehicles in airports, and not just in airports. Where we see them, and I've seen them at University of Houston in colleges. They have shuttles like this. Think about, okay, so if you've been to Houston, or you've ever come to Houston during February, the month of February and March, it's the biggest, grandest, most amazing thing that we have going on in Houston. It is Rodeo Houston. And so Rodeo Houston, I go every year, typically a couple times. The family and I go to a couple concerts, and I love the rodeo. So concerts are nice, but I love the rodeo, and I love all the eats that they have at the rodeo. And I've talked about food a lot on this show today, but don't judge me, okay? But so at Rodeo Houston, so we typically will park across the street where Astroworld used to be. And we would take a bus, and the bus will drive us over to the stadium. And then we go in, or we go to the carnival or whatever. But think about an autonomous shuttle. An autonomous shuttle picking you up at your car and taking you to the front door of the stadium, or picking you up at your car in the parking lot and taking you to class. If you're on a college campus, a huge college campus like University of Houston. And so this is the future. And I know some other colleges have those things, and they're typically in like a confined area. They're going from like point A to point B. They don't go a lot of places. But we're starting to see this more and more. And again, it's imperative that you learn about these opportunities, you know about them, you know what's coming, and that you are prepared for them as they come. from a technical perspective, but also from a skills perspective, a soft skills, dealing with people, customer service, that type of thing.
I'm Jerri Banks. Our agency focuses on driver recruitment and driver education. We focus on helping drivers and preparing them for the future of trucking and transportation as autonomous vehicles and automation enters the industry. Our goal is to ensure that you are equipped with the skills that you need to be successful in this new way of life. So make sure you connect with me across all of my platforms, Jerri Banks, Autonomous Trucking. I look forward to connecting with you.
Yes, let me stop and say hello to my TikTok family. I'm live here on the YouTube. You guys can see me here, but I have TikTok right over here, and they are in the building. Hi, Jay. Hi, James. Hello, Keisha. Hello, Elise. Hello, Lorenzo, Rena, Robert. Look, Alexander, Parthenia. Hi. Hello, everybody. Look, you guys, I appreciate you. I appreciate everything that you guys are doing. Look, y'all be blowing me up on TikTok, and so I just appreciate you because that is a place where it's a learning opportunity, and I'm glad that you're there. I'm glad that you're connecting with me. I'm glad that you're engaging on my content and you're liking and hearting and sharing all the things. I see you favoriting some of the things that you find interesting, and so I just appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being there. Let us move right into our traditional truck driving job. Today's job is a dedicated account. I talked dedicated. I've shared a couple dedicateds already. This one is with a grocery store. And so, what do I mean by dedicated for those of you that are new in this industry or not, maybe not in this industry? So, a dedicated account is an account that you're going to deliver to that store or to just that chain of stores only. You won't be delivering to any other customers outside of that particular store network. So this particular position, it is a home every week position. It is hiring in a little sliver, okay, a little sliver of Virginia. Let me share the map. This map is where we are hiring in that little area. So if you're as far as Norfolk and Virginia Beach, and then as far up, I think that's going into West Virginia, Beckley, West Virginia, Blacksburg, Roanoke, Lynchburg, a little bit of Richmond. So if you're anywhere in this vicinity, I want you to make sure that you connect with me. The number is scrolling on the screen, or it's right here below me. Text grocery, because this is a grocery store account. It's going to fill up fast. All right. And so if you're seeing this and it's 6 months down the road, which I typically have drivers that will see it and it's 6 months later and they're like, hey, you still got that grocery store account? Nope, it's full. So if you're seeing this right now or within the next couple of days, I want you to make sure that you text grocery to the number below 832-572-5277 for more information on this truck driving job, because this position is an amazing position. And the reason why I like it, this position is going to help you from a transition perspective, keep your money flowing. Because, sometimes when you leave one company and you go to another, your pay may be a little bit delayed or there may be a little bit lag. So, but you get paid for orientation. It's $100 a day for orientation. So you'll get paid on that Friday. If you go on Monday or if you go on Wednesday, you'll get paid by the end of the week. The other thing, once you pull your first load, this account has a sign-on bonus. And I have a whole video on sign-on bonuses and what a sign-on bonus is, how they're typically broken down. Make sure that you check out that video. It's everything that you need to know about sign-on bonuses. But this particular account has a sign-on bonus of $1,000. Now, a sign-on bonus, like I said, when you see those sign-on bonuses on billboards and it says like $10,000, okay, to work over here, $10,000 sign-on bonus. That's not always the case. You're not going to get $10,000 right away in your bank account. Okay, companies typically will break that 10,000 up over 2 or 3 months. I mean, 2 or 3 years, not months. 2 or 3 years. So you won't see the 10,000 until you finish your last 2 years or your last year there. Okay, but in this particular position, it's a $1,000 sign-on bonus, and that sign-on bonus is broken down just in two parts. So you get $500 after you pull your first load. Okay, that's really good because you pull one load, you get your 500, and then you get the other 500 after 30 days. After being there for 30 days, you get the other $500. So $1,000 sign-on bonus, Roanoke, Virginia, Lynchburg, Virginia. Let me get that map back up. Lynchburg, Virginia Beach, Blacksburg, a little bit of Richmond. It's the east side of Richmond, down I-85, I-81. If you're anywhere in Virginia along this map that I have up, this is the position for you. This is the position for you. So again, it's a dedicated account. You're going to be hauling dry and refrigerated touch freight to various stores in Virginia and Washington. Look, you won't be able to, you're going to get immediately seated. So as soon as you finish orientation, you're going to get assigned a sleeper and you're going to immediately start working. It won't be okay, I'm going to go home for a couple of days. No, you need to become prepared to be able to start working right away. All right. You will be unloading the truck. You will be unloading the truck at the store using an electric pallet jack. So it's not like dollar stores where it's piece by piece and you're putting it on the rollers or you're, pushing that roll container inside the store. This is using the electric pallet jack. And the account, it operates 7 days a week, mainly during overnight. So you got to be willing to run nights, especially nights. You got to be willing to run weekends and holidays. Anything that falls in between your work week, you have to be willing to run. And this store is so busy that the week before a holiday is pretty much mandatory that you have to run. So like the week before 4th of July, the week before Christmas, the week before Thanksgiving, because it's a grocery store, they got to keep those shelves full. You are keeping us full. Okay, you're keeping not only our shelves full, you're keeping our bellies full, our refrigerators full. So this is an account that is very, very crucial and critical. You do get paid. So let's talk about how you get paid, because you get paid a couple of ways. You get paid by the stop. You get paid by the unload, because remember, you're unloading the trailer with an electric pallet jack. And you get paid by the mile. And so drivers on this account average anywhere from about $13.50 to $14.50 a week. And you're out for the week. So you're not home every day. You're out for the week and you're home for a 34-hour reset. Now, you typically average about 3 loads a week. And then each one of those loads has about 2 stops per day. So about 2 stops per day. But again, averaging anywhere from $13.50 to $14.50 a week. Now, again, if this sounds like something that may interest you, make sure that you text grocery. Look at the number right here. Text grocery to 832-572-5277. And the girls are standing by to be able to get you on this position. Now, again, let me just show the map one more time. If you live in Norfolk, Virginia, Blacksburg, Virginia, Virginia Beach, Virginia, Roanoke, Lynchburg, east side of Richmond, and a little bit across the border of West Virginia. If you live in any of those areas, make sure that you text so that we can get you on this one. Now, what do you need to be able to qualify for this position? You need at least 3 months of experience. You need to be able to pass a urine and a hair drug test. You need to have a good driving record, good background. We'll qualify you when you call. But what I will say is when you call, be upfront and open and honest, because I'm gonna pull it out of you. If you happen to get me on the phone, I'm gonna know exactly what's on your driving record and what's on your background before I even touch your application. And that just comes from years of talking to drivers, but it also comes from years of talking to men, and it also comes from 28 years of being a mama. Okay. So I'll know what's on your driving record. I'll know what's on your background. I'll know all of those things before I even pull up your application. All right. And that's just by asking a handful of questions. So again, 3 months of experience, must be able to pass a urine and a hair drug test, and meet the qualifications when it comes to driving record, when it comes to pre-employment screening, and it's got to be verifiable experience. Okay. So these are all things that we'll need in order for you to be able to get on this position. Now, if you have not already downloaded the ebook, I want you to download the free ebook. It's a free ebook. I'll say it again, but it's The Future of Trucking, and it's preparing you for autonomous trucks entering into the trucking and transportation industry. And this ebook has a detailed overview of the key players, who are the top 5 autonomous trucking companies that are, do you know them? Can you drop them in the comments? Tell me if you know the companies. Tell me if you know who their partners are. A handful of them I've been talking about over the last couple weeks: Aurora, Kodiak, Torque, Gaddit, and there's a couple more. And so these are companies that are making moves, that are making strides in our industry. These are companies that you need to know about. Do you know who their partners are? They're partnering with the mega carriers such as CR England, US Express, Werner, and so many more. And you may work for those companies. So it's imperative that you know and should download this book so that you know exactly what's going on in the industry and how you need to prepare. So again, download the ebook. The link is right below here. Again, that link is https :/bit.ly/autonomous ebook. All right, now we're going to be moving right into our learning lane. And when we come back, I'll be sharing information. And again, earlier I told you that the learning lane, the tip that I'm going to give you in the learning lane today is a tip that I'm going to be able to use myself.
I'm Jerri Banks. Our agency focuses on driver recruitment and driver education. We focus on helping drivers and preparing them for the future of trucking and transportation as autonomous vehicles and automation enters the industry. Our goal is to ensure that you are equipped with the skills that you need to be successful in this new way of life. So make sure you connect with me across all of my platforms, Jerri Banks, Autonomous Trucking. I look forward to connecting with you.
Yes, thank you so much. Again, I look forward to connecting with you. I love seeing the hearts. I love seeing the likes. I love seeing the shares. Make sure that you are sharing the show, sharing all of my content across all of my platforms with your friends, with your peers in the industry. Let's move right to our learning lane. Today in the learning lane, we're going to talk about, and we've kind of been talking about it over the last couple of shows, but it's the power of people skills. The power of people skills in an automated future. And, with so many things changing quickly, with automation, with autonomy, with these things and new technology, with these things creeping faster and faster into our lives, it's very critical that we start thinking about and recognize the value of people skills, because it's that human touch. It's that human connection that cannot be replaced by a robot, that cannot be replaced by new technology, by new software. And so it's very important that you recognize the power of your people skills. and you start working on your people skills to develop them to help you stand out from everyone else out there. Now, there was a survey, a study that came out by the World Economic Forum back in 2019. And they said that 85% of the jobs that are going to be existing in 2030, they have not even been invented yet. Now, we think 2030 is so far off. I actually thought 2028 was really far off because that's my last child's graduation year. But it's not. It's like 4 years, and I'll blink my eyes, and those 4 years will go by so fast. And it's the same with 2030. We will blink our eyes, and 2030 will be here before we know it. And so 85, think about that. 85% of the jobs that will exist in 2030 have not even been invented yet. But here's the one thing that we know. One thing that we know is that these future roles, they're going to require strong social and strong emotional and strong communication skills. Being able to work with the machines, being able to understand the technology, work with the automation, understand the autonomy, knowing how to communicate, knowing how to handle the customers, that's a whole nother ballgame. Because you can work with those machines. You can understand them. You can build them. You can put them together. You can manage those self-driving trucks. But knowing how to handle your customers, that's another level. That's a whole other ballgame. And so your technical skills, they're very important. You're being safety. You're being safe. You're knowing how to move in the industry. That is one thing. But thriving in this new industry with your people skills, that's a whole nother level. And so you're going to need to be able to build those strong relationships. You're going to need to be able and know how to resolve conflicts, know how to handle those difficult situations. And then if you're working in team settings, you're going to need to know how to work together with your colleagues to meet that end goal that's needed. And so I want to leave you with one takeaway that I want you to think about that's going to help you build up your people skills for this new future that's filled with automation and autonomy and new technology. And the first thing that I want you to do, the one thing that I want you to take away, and because I also need to act on this and utilize this and practice this more and more, it's active listening. Active listening goes a long way. And my husband will tell you that I'm not the best active listener. However, I work on it and I'll continue to practice. And I want you to practice with me. But active listening goes beyond just hearing what the other person is saying. It involves being able to really understand the message that's being conveyed. And so in a future where automation is going to handle all the technical things and, autonomy is going to handle some of those technical things, the ability to listen and the ability to empathize with your colleagues, with your coworkers, with your leaders, with your customers, those are going to be the key things that are going to set you apart. And so and I'm going to take this advice for myself as well. I'm going to use my husband, and I want you to use your partner as a guinea pig. And I want you to practice your active listening skills. And the way you do that is you practice by focusing. When they're talking, you focus entirely on what they're saying. You're not, being distracted. You're just focusing. You're not being distracted. You're avoiding interruptions. And if you're like me in any way, you have to turn off that squirrel brain talk that you have going on in your head, and you have to really make a conscious effort to listen. And this is probably the hardest part for me. Drop a comment and let me know if this is hard for you as well. But being able to turn off what I'm about to say or what my response is going to be while that other person is thinking. When you get to a place where you can turn off your thinking and what you're about to say and what your response is going to be, and just listen to what the other person is saying, whether it's your customer, whether it's your spouse, whether it's, who you're working with, whether it's your coworker, you are a professional at that point, because it's hard. And so I know myself, when I'm using my husband because, or my kids, when he's talking, I'm either doing one or two things. I'm thinking about what I need to cook for dinner, because, when you have a lot of kids, you got to think about that. Or I'm thinking about the very long to-do list that I have with so many things on it. And I'm thinking about like what I need. Okay, let me respond to it. Let me think about what I need to say to him so that I can go ahead and get done what I need to get done. But do this with me. Stop and just focus on exactly what that person's saying. That is how you build your active listening skills. That is how you build your focus skills. Because again, your people skills are paramount. You are going to be able to prepare yourself to excel in an automated future with your people skills. Because the technology is going to continue to advance. The technology, the automation, the autonomy, those things are going to continue to get better, but it's your people skills that are going to set you apart. It's your ability to resolve conflict. It's your ability to build relationships. All of these things are going to be what sets you apart in an automated future. So I want to thank you guys. I hope this information was helpful to you. If any of this has resonated with you in any way, I want you to make sure that you share the information with your colleagues, with your coworkers, with your peers, with your partners, because this information is needed and it's imperative for not just the future of trucking, but the future of transportation and the future of work in general. So a lot of the things that I talk trucking and transportation and aviation and all of these things, but there's every industry is being touched by automation. Every industry is being touched by autonomy in some way, by new technologies and new AIs by some way. So you need to know what you need to be doing to prepare. And active listening is definitely one thing that you can start working on right now to be able to excel. So make sure you never miss a live. Make sure you are always connected with me across all of my platforms. Today's show has been action-packed, a lot of information, a lot of job that I've shared. And if that information, if you're interested in that job, make sure that you text grocery to 832-572-5277. And I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow on the show. I'll see you then.